In the world of entertainment, marketing is key to success. For instance, I market this channel by making one iceberg a year so that all my dead subscribers still think I'm alive, and YouTube doesn't bury my channel. Don't worry YouTube, the channel may be on life support, but it's not dead yet. Also, pulling up Jennifer is a great way to keep you watching. With films, the gold standard is usually trailers, social media posts, and celebrity interviews. But what if you wanted something more exciting, more enticing, something unique to only that film? That's where ARGs come in. An ARG, otherwise known as an alternate reality game, is a form of interactive storytelling that takes place in the real world, and which employs the use of a variety of different media, such as websites, videos, photos, etc., and even being able to interact with actual characters and events within the ARG. Now, I'm going to cover a lot of them in this iceberg, but not everything on here is going to be an ARG. The main focus is actually film marketing in general. So I'm going to include things like publicity stunts, immersive storytelling, supplemental footage, anything that I think is interesting. I'm still going to include ARG in the title because that gets more clicks. It's called marketing, fellas. I've spent a lot of time looking into this stuff. I am cursed with this knowledge, and now I pass it on to you. This is the film ARG and viral marketing iceberg. How else do we start this iceberg if not with the Blair Witch Project? The textbook definition of effective film marketing. Feeling like paranormal documentaries were much scarier than traditional horror films, filmmakers Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez were inspired to make a found footage film of the same nature. With a small budget of only $30,000, they put together a small cast of unknown actors and took them to the Seneca Creek State Park. Here, they would spend 8 days filming their search for the fake Blair Witch legend. Making the film was one thing, but in order for it to work, they had to convince the audience it was real before they even saw it. The film was partially screened first at the Florida Film Festival. During this event, the filmmakers distributed missing person posters of their cast to attendees, urging them to come forward with any information on their whereabouts. This same strategy would then be transferred over online. In 1998, the website BlairWitch.com was made for the film, and contained various police reports and interviews to further sell the idea that these documentarians were truly missing. Despite their efforts, most of the top executives at big-name studios like Miramax and Fine Line walked out of the film's premiere at Sundance Film Festival. Artisan Entertainment would be the only studio left to acquire the film, and when they did, they continued with an even more aggressive marketing campaign. First, the trailer was leaked to the website AintItCool.com, presenting it as something mysterious. The film itself was screened early at colleges to help generate word-of-mouth hype among young people. And finally, just a few days before the film premiered in theaters, another mockumentary titled Curse of the Blair Witch was broadcast on the Sci-Fi Channel. Audiences were captivated. Whether you were online or not, discussion of the film was almost unavoidable. And among these discussions, there were many who truly believed what they were about to see was real. As a result, this micro-budget film went on to gross over $248 million. Hollywood executives took notice, but even back then, everyone knew this couldn't be pulled off again. These were the early days of the internet. Online skepticism and fact-checking were not as prominent as they are now. The internet would become more aware of what was real, in small part because of this film. So a campaign like this was never attempted again, at least not seriously. However, I'd be remiss to not at least mention this film. Not gonna try and pronounce it, cause if I do, YouTube will take me out back. In some sense, this was the original Blair Witch, in that it sold audiences on the idea that their documentary crew was really dead. Since this was the 1980s and there was no widespread internet to help pull this off, the actors simply avoided being in any other type of media for a year. The director himself was actually arrested on suspicion that he made a snuff film, only being released after the actors came forward in court. Now, there have been plenty of attempts to create a convincing fake snuff film, but none of them ever achieved the same mainstream success as the Blair Witch Project. and the other film. If the Blair Witch Project is the most well-known example of viral marketing, then Cloverfield is the most well-known example of a film ARG. In July of 2007, a short teaser trailer would play before each screening of Transformers. The teaser depicted a party which was quickly engulfed by an apocalyptic event. At the end, there was no title reveal, just a release date, January 18, 2008. Typing the date into Google uncovered a website containing only a few pictures. Interacting with these pictures revealed individual names, which were all linked to real MySpace profiles. By reading through all their posts, players would be sent down a rabbit hole uncovering the hidden lore of this film's universe through various clues and puzzles. To summarize it briefly, during the game, players would be taken to different websites, the first one revolving around two characters named Jamie and Teddy. Over the course of a couple video logs, it's revealed that Teddy has been kidnapped after an investigation into a company known as Tagruato. Going over to their website, we learned that Tagruato was a Japanese petroleum mining company, constructing a new oil platform, Chuai Station, off the coast of Connecticut. Tagruato also owned a subsidiary company known as Slusho, a brand that actually appears on one of the characters in the teaser. Meanwhile, on another website, an eco group known as Tidal Wave claimed that the area actually has no oil and that instead the company is hiding a much more sinister secret, especially considering one of their top marine biologists was seemingly assassinated mere days after retirement. The game would conclude one day before the premiere of the film. It ended with one of the film's characters, Rob, revealing that he would be accepting a job offer from Slusho and that he would be moving to Japan. This would prompt one of his friends to plan a going-away party for him. Meanwhile, Tagruato's Chuai Station would randomly collapse, spilling oil into the ocean, oil that was seemingly drifting over to New York. These two stories would later converge on the big screen in the film we now know as Cloverfield. I really appreciate just how well crafted the supplemental footage for this game is. Like, they were able to make these realistic looking news segments for different countries, and at the same time, make these authentically crazy Japanese commercials for their fake drinks. They had a lot of confidence with this game, and as a result, you get this whole new experience with the film. And the ARG continued with the release of the kind of a sequel but not really film, 10 Cloverfield Lane, and the most recent film, The Cloverfield Paradox. That said, the timeline is kind of confusing considering different universes are now at play here, and also the last film was really bad, so look into that if you want. Personally, I would suggest the videos made by Inside a Mind, and the one made by Thrifty Typewriter. Why So Serious is an ARG made to promote the film The Dark Knight. Impressed by their transmedia work with 9 Inch Nails, Christopher Nolan employed marketing company 42 Entertainment to develop an ARG for the film. Spanning over the course of 1 year and over 50 websites, this may be the most ambitious project the company has ever made. The game itself takes place right after the conclusion of Batman Begins. Players began by finding 2 websites, one called I Believe in Harvey Dent, promoting Harvey Dent's campaign for district attorney in Gotham. The second was called I Believe in Harvey Dent 2, a vandalized version of the same website. Sending an email would remove and replace 1 pixel from the website, eventually revealing the public's first image of the Joker. The game continued at San Diego Comic-Con, where players participated in a scavenger hunt set up by the Joker. Donning Joker makeup, Comic-Con players worked together with online players to figure out the location of each checkpoint posted on the website. The hunt ended with the discovery of the first teaser trailer for the film, and Comic-Con players receiving a Joker mask. The game would then spread worldwide, with players encouraged by the Joker to take pictures at key landmarks around the globe. Players who did this were sent real Gotham newspapers, which, when analyzed, uncovered a plethora of different websites for the game, all with their own set of clues and puzzles. One of these puzzles rewarded players with the credentials of the manager of buildings and grounds, or the Gotham Unified School District 22. Players could then bring these credentials to IMAX theaters in select cities and watch the opening scene of the film. Notably, that scene ends with the Joker escaping on a school bus from District 22, directly linking the ARG and the film. The game didn't just focus on the Joker though, as Harvey Dent was the focus of the next phase. Similarly, players were encouraged to go out and march in support for Harvey Dent's election. Participating players received another set of Gotham newspapers, revealing even more websites and puzzles. Way too many than I can reasonably cover here. There's a point where players are recruited by Jim Gordon and have to help him track down dirty cops. There's even a subplot involving the fan club, Citizens for Batman, who actually make an appearance in the film too. This plot thread would lead to public meetups in both New York City and Chicago, where the bat symbol would be displayed. The game ended on July 10th, a week before the film's release. A video of Harvey Dent being interviewed on Gotham Tonight would be interrupted by news of the Joker robbing Gotham Bank. Simultaneously, every website made for the ARG would become vandalized by the Joker, with secret clues left behind. Solving this final puzzle would reward players with an early screening of the film on July 15th. I mean it when I say that this ARG was extensive. You could watch multiple videos recapping the event, and it still wouldn't cover every single little detail. If you want to learn more about the ARG, a lot of it is archived on the website Why So Serious Redux. I also suggest watching Inside of Mind's 2-part series covering it, along with this video by Batfax, which is criminally underviewed for how much research was done on both the story of the game and the behind-the-scenes development of it. Speaking about ambitious projects, we have The Beast, an ARG made to promote the film AI Artificial Intelligence, considered by many to be the first ARG, or at the very least, the first film-based ARG. The existence of this game was hidden within the first trailer. A fictional person, Janine Sala, with a fictional job, was emphasized at the end of the trailer with this sparkle effect. The ending title of Summer 2001 had small stripes on each letter and number, which, when counted, revealed a secret phone number. The game itself takes place years after the events of the film, and revolves around Janine and her investigation into the death of her friend. The story unfolded across multiple websites, with players learning that Evan, married to a woman named Nancy, was secretly having an affair with Janine's sister and a robot named Venus. As it turns out, Venus was a companion robot that was reprogrammed to kill him. The cause of his death leads to the discovery of a website for an anti-robot militia. As the name implies, it's an organization against the idea of robots having equal rights. What began as a personal investigation into the death of a close friend quickly gets caught up in a political fight between pro and anti-robot organizations. The game even involves an older Martin Swinton, the actual child of the family the main character David was given to in the film. Apparently, he builds AI integrated houses now, but his robots keep getting killed by a shady company who thinks he's investigating the disappearance of David. It's all very complex. To give you an idea, the game went way beyond the original end date for the ARG, which was supposed to be the day the film released. Yeah, this thing kept going even after the film came out. One of the few videos recapping the game is over 30 minutes long, and the guy has to skip over a lot of things in order to not bloat the video. A prominent player of the game, Adrian Hahn, wrote a 130-page walkthrough for the ARG. For reference, the entire script of this video is just 50 pages. Also, there was apparently some drama among the audiences of the game. According to Aaron Reed over at Substack.com, unless you were part of the Cloudmakers, the main group playing the game at the time, there was no way you could play the game on your own. Unwieldy and inhospitable to anyone who didn't constantly follow the story's progress, it became increasingly difficult to be a casual Cloudmaker. Fans who didn't join a group like Cloudmakers were left in the dark, with only a fraction of the brainpower and resources necessary to play the game they discovered. Even for those within the collective, virtually any new puzzle was solved before the majority of players had a chance to see it. All that being said, the Beast still laid the groundwork for many future ARGs, such as incorporating player meetups into the story, promoting cooperation among players, funding publicity stunts such as their pro and anti-AI protests in various cities, and even incorporating press events into the game with producer Kathleen Kennedy and actor Haley Joel Osment answering questions from the public about the fictional character Janine. The story itself ended with Janine's death, along with the passing of the Mann Act too, a reference to the actual Mann Act, which was made to regulate and prohibit human trafficking. The Mann Act 2 essentially gave robots equal rights. Despite its complexity and ambition, and most likely because of it, The Beast failed to actually hype up the film, as it made $79 million domestically against a budget of $100 million. Nevertheless, the ARG would go on to win the Peabody Award in 2022. I'd actually like to cover the story of this ARG someday, both the actual game and the people who played it, because it does sound really interesting. Unfortunately, as you'll see with many ARGs on this Iceberg, a lot of the websites and original content made for the game have not been archived. Much of the discussion happened on Yahoo Groups, which shut down in 2020, taking all the information with it. For now, I recommend you watch Rattel Factor's video on the ARG, as it's the only real deep dive into the subject on YouTube. So let's talk about some old forms of viral marketing, one that is frequently taught in first-year film classes. In 1960, Alfred Hitchcock released the now critically acclaimed horror film Psycho. In order to emphasize the murder mystery elements of the film, Hitchcock employed a rather unique form of film marketing. It was announced both at the end of the official trailer and various newspapers that no one would be allowed seating after the film had started. Hitchcock claimed that this film was something that audiences had to see beginning to end to get the full experience. A more specific reason for this decision was that Janet Leigh, a popular actress that was featured prominently on the film's poster, was only really present in the first act. Hitchcock felt that if someone started watching after her death took place, and thus never saw her appear in the film, then they might feel cheated. This was the first time a film ever tried enforcing a no late admission policy, and many theaters were afraid it would negatively affect the box office, given how common it was for people to just walk in late back then. To their surprise, theaters reported seeing long lines of people waiting to buy tickets, hoping to not miss their chance to see the film. A lot of the same no late admission posters also told audiences to not spoil the film after they left, one of cinema's first official no spoiler warnings, which is pretty ironic considering that the trailer that advertised this new policy actually did a lot of that. Wanting to maintain control of the advertising, Hitchcock actually forbade his actors from doing any press for the film, opting to do it himself. This resulted in the way lesser known trailer featuring Hitchcock going around the set of the film and talking about all the important scenes that took place in them. Some of it is subtle.
An important scene took place in this room. There was a private supper here.
And some of it is just straight up the plot.
Well, they cleaned all this up now. Big difference. You should have seen the blood. The whole place was, well, it's too horrible to describe. Dreadful.
I mean, hey, it worked, I guess. Psycho would go on to be a box office success, and is remembered today as one of the most influential horror films of all time. Here's a recent-ish marketing campaign that quite a few people really liked. To promote the 2022 horror film Smile, Paramount's marketing team placed various actors in the crowds of several Major League Baseball games, mainly behind home plate, the area that cameras focus on the most. These actors would wear bright-colored shirts while showing off a big smile. Sounds pretty tame compared to everything else we've covered so far, but it proved to be effective. The campaign went viral across social media, with some people actually going to go see the film because of it. In fact, it was so successful that it may have inspired some copycats. A year later, Marvel would attempt a similar stunt for the miniseries Secret Invasion, where they placed a few scrolls in random news segments on ABC. Unfortunately, the virality of this stunt was undercut by the show's controversial use of AI for their opening. I mean, when you work with a small $35 million budget per episode, you gotta cut costs somewhere. Then there was the film The Creator, who, only a few months later, placed AI robots from their film into the crowds of football games. This stunt also went under the radar, probably because it was trying too hard to be viral. They weren't some background element that people could notice on their own. These actors were literally making videos alongside the teams playing at the stadium. Did not feel as authentic. A lesson learned for film marketing. Sometimes less is more. Flynn Lives was an alternate reality game made to promote the film Tron Legacy, a prequel to the film Tron from 1982. This was another game designed by 42 Entertainment. The storyline for this one revolved around the disappearance of Kevin Flynn, the protagonist of the original film, and the efforts of the Flynn Lives organization to uncover the truth. Players were able to become a member of the organization and thus play the game by signing up on their website. The ARG began in 2009, when San Diego Comic-Con attendees were invited to participate in a scavenger hunt, which ended with the discovery of Flynn's arcade. This was a real location where people could play the game Space Paranoids from the original film. Beating the game and entering specific codes allowed players to see a new trailer for the film, and the event ended with the reveal of a life-sized light cycle. The following year, 42 Entertainment would expand the ARG both worldwide and to the online world. The website, Flynn Lives, contained a page titled 0 Hour, which had a list of 27 cities, all of which contained a scavenger hunt. After finding and combining all the codes found, players were led to the website Pitcell, where they could buy tickets to advanced screenings of another trailer. There was also a website for Encom, a corporation from the film, which was planning to have a real in-person press event. This event was even promoted during an IGN interview with in-universe character Alan Bradley. At the same time, the Flynn Lives website was promoting a meetup at the same location. During the actual event, the organization showed up in protest for their cause, when suddenly Sam Flynn, the main character of the new film, parachuted into the area. The game continued online, with players now having to track down Sam by solving puzzles across various websites. Rewards for completing these puzzles included more supplemental footage, merch, and souvenirs. The final puzzle involved another scavenger hunt in 16 cities, where players had to find real agents who gave them special numeric sequences, which, from my understanding, the success of this puzzle actually had an effect in the film itself. Apparently, Alan Bradley gets some sort of page from the ARG. I don't know, I never saw the film, so any Tron heads watching this video, let me know in the comments. Speaking of the film, successful players were rewarded with the chance to attend a free early screening of the film while seats lasted. Mark of the Spider is another ARG developed by 42 Entertainment to promote the film The Amazing Spider-Man. In 2012, the website markofthespider.com was revealed at the end of the film's first trailer, along with a Twitter account of the same name. The Twitter account would post coordinates to 11 different locations in 6 cities. Arriving at these locations, players would find Peter Parker's lost backpack. Among the various items were clippings from the Daily Bugle's coverage of Spider-Man, and within the article was a secret code. Applying it to the website revealed 6 videos, prompting players to spray paint Spider-Man symbols across their cities. Their actions would be noticed by in-universe character George Stacy, urging anyone with information on Spider-Man to submit their tips to a website titled Web Menace. Submitting photos to this website would reward players with neat souvenirs in the mail. Several other websites were discovered, like Peter's Photoblog, a website for his high school, and a Twitter account for a Reptile Fanatic student. This account also posted coordinates, this time for lizard sightings around the 6 cities. This scavenger hunt led players to props such as torn lab coats, and lizard samples, a clear nod to the film's main villain. This is also when the Oscorp website was found, with players being able to apply for an internship with Dr. Connors by completing a browser game. The final puzzle had players use another set of coordinates to locate a briefcase containing more in-universe character props, but more importantly, tickets to a free screening of the film. "2012 is a science fiction disaster film based on the then popular theory that the world would end on December 21st, 2012. To promote the film, the teaser trailer encouraged audiences to Google search the term 2012, which hopefully brought them to the website Institute for Human Continuity. Partnering with the digital agency Big Spaceship, this fake scientific organization hosted a lot of information on the 2012 Mayan prophecies, in the form of blog updates, articles, a book written by the film's fictional character Jackson Curtis, and even video and radio broadcasts hosted by the character Charlie Frost, played by Woody Harrelson. There were also pages featuring apocalypse simulations, and a fake lottery people could enter to potentially be part of the small population the organization would rescue from global destruction. From the articles to the videos, everything looked pretty authentic. A little too authentic, especially for that year. The site did receive some backlash from news organizations saying it helped spread harmful doomsday conspiracies, and from NASA, who claimed they received over 1,000 inquiries from people who genuinely feared the site was real. Despite the controversy, the film went on to be a financial success, and, even better, the world was not wiped out in 2012. Cool, but you know what was wiped out? The official site itself, along with a lot of their videos, namely those with Woody Harrelson. I was able to find a few on YouTube, hosted on some of Sony's alternative language channels, but looking at this promotional video for the site by Big Spaceship themselves, we can see he made a lot more of them, which means there's potentially some lost media on our hands here. So that's my little call to action for this video. Help me find the crazy Woody Harrelson doomsday videos. Inspector Pikachu refers to a YouTube channel with just one video, supposedly a leak of the full Detective Pikachu movie just 3 days before its premiere. Ryan Reynolds, the voice actor of Pikachu in the film, even tweeted at Warner Bros. Telling them about the leak. Of course, it wasn't real. The film showed the first minute of the film before cutting to a loop of Pikachu doing a little dance for over an hour. Obviously, Warner Bros. Was involved, and the video sits currently at 39 million views. However, this wasn't the only time Ryan Reynolds was involved in a leak per se. Back in July of 2014, a video claiming to be test footage for a Deadpool film was leaked online. No one was officially attached to the project, but people quickly noticed that Ryan Reynolds was the one voicing the character. Despite 20th Century Fox repeatedly taking down the video, it received enough hype that the studio went ahead with the project. It may not have been intentional viral marketing, but the success of the footage did lead to the birth of the Deadpool series of films. Mouth Taped Shut is yet another 42 Entertainment ARG made to promote David Fincher's crime thriller, Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. The game began on Tumblr and Twitter under the username Mouth Taped Shut. The Tumblr page also linked to the website Comes Forth in the Thaw, which showed an image from the film slowly unfreezing. From here, players had to decode images posted on the Tumblr and the website, which eventually led them to the website What is Hidden in the Snow, which at first only showed blank images. The Twitter and Tumblr account would then start to post cryptic images and videos with coordinates revealing the locations of various obtainable items. Once discovered, the blank images would be filled on the website. These items included movie props signed by Fincher himself, the most sought after being the 40 framed flower paintings, which played a big role in the film itself. However, the most interesting item found was a VHS tape containing a fake segment from the show Hardcopy, a 1990s tabloid show. This segment delved deeper into the mysterious disappearance of Harriet Vanger. After all these items were found and accounted for, the website rewarded players with advanced screenings in select cities. Thankfully, the extra footage made for this game is actually archived on the official Mouth Taped Shut YouTube channel. The horror film It Chapter 1 actually had some unique and shady marketing for it. In September of 2017, over in Australia, the marketing team went out and tied various red balloons to sewers around the cities of Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. People really enjoyed this publicity stunt. In fact, they enjoyed it a little too much. After the stunt gained some traction online, a group of pranksters went around the Lulitz area in Pennsylvania and did the exact same thing, except with no indication it was promotion for a movie. The townspeople became quite concerned, and eventually even the police were involved, but nothing really came of it. This wasn't the only type of concern caused by the film though. Some clown communities were upset by the film's sinister portrayal of clowns, going so far as to say the film's upcoming release sparked a decline in their business. John Nelson, owner of clown business Clowns in Town, was actually planning a protest against the film outside a Regal cinema in New York City. However, upon further investigation, news stations learned that the website for Nelson's clown business was made only 2 days before the rally was set to occur. In fact, the rally he was setting up for never even happened. When NBC New York reached out for a comment, Nelson admitted that he was hired for promotional purposes, but would not disclose who hired him and why. And that's essentially where the story ends, but I went and dug a bit deeper. Apparently, a week before Clowns in Town surfaced, a different clown business, the Thundery Bay Clown Club, already assembled a small protest in Canada against the film for the very same reasons. As far as I'm aware, this is a real business, as their Facebook page is regularly updated with events they attend, along with the very best clown memes. This is just speculation on my part, but is it possible that Warner Brothers, upon seeing this protest, decided to create a fake clown business and protest in an effort to delegitimize the real one? I mean, the Clowns in Town outrage was very easily exposed considering no one even showed up. So were they actively hoping to get caught? Or perhaps Warner Brothers just saw their chance to cash in on negative press and control the clown outrage narrative? I don't know. The situation is both mysterious and honestly kind of silly. Considering this all happened almost 6 years ago, we're not likely to get any concrete answers anytime soon. In the film Magnolia, Tom Cruise plays the character Frank T.J. Mackey, a pickup artist doing the usual scam of telling men they can sleep with any woman if they follow his tips. Within the film itself, we see an infomercial for one of his tapes, Seduce and Destroy, and even a hotline number people can call to order it. However, this commercial wasn't just made for the film, it was also broadcast on late-night TV before any info on the film was made public. So, people who came across this ad would be completely taken aback wondering why Tom Cruise of all people was in a sex ad. I almost didn't even know this happened if it weren't for Benny Safdie talking about it on the A24 podcast alongside the film's director, Paul Thomas Anderson.
There's an amazing story. So I was sitting at home and it was like there was the Channel 35 in New York, which was like the sex channel at nighttime. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching it and I'm like, then every once in a while there's a commercial and I'm watching the commercial.
Why are you watching it, Benny?
Because I was just enjoying myself.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching
Literally.
it. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, what is going on right now? I see Tom Cruise doing an ad for this sex thing. And I'm like, what the I would literally, my head exploded. Because this is like late night, New York, nobody is there. And I ran over to Josh. I'm like, Josh, you have no idea. And I was trying to tell him, and he's like, you are out of your mind. There's no, and this is like months before anything was even out there.
Cool. That was cool.
And then I remember, but I clocked.
That was your idea?
Yeah. I clocked the number, and I remembered the number. I'm like, all right. And then I was like, when we got to a movie theater, I went to the payphone because I wasn't going to call from the home. Right. So I called from the payphone. I'm like, Josh, listen. And it was him doing the recording. I was like, this is insane.
That's amazing.
So, unfortunately, the recording of Tom Cruise for the hotline has been lost to time. Fun fact, I actually went and watched Magnolia to get some context for this ad, and I gotta say, it is a fantastic film. I really recommend watching it whenever you get the chance. Ridley Scott's 2012 sci-fi film Prometheus actually had quite a bit of viral marketing behind it. The campaign began with the release of an official TED conference video titled TED 2023. For those who don't know, TED is a media organization that hosts conferences for experts to speak about a wide range of topics like technology, entertainment, design, and later branching off to stuff like science, culture, and politics. This short film was designed by Ridley Scott and actually directed by his son, Luke Scott. The short takes place at Wembley Stadium and involves the character Peter Wayland, a billionaire egomaniac, giving a TED Talk speech about his vision for the future. This marks the first time the TED brand was used as promotion for other media, and it was a success for the organization, generating a lot of traffic for their blog. Impressive numbers for a TED Talk for sure, but it doesn't hold a candle to the real Peter TED Talk. This speech doesn't appear in the film itself, and some people felt like it should have, since it helped them understand him as a character better. I've never seen the film, so I can't say if it's true or not, so any Prometheus fans let me know in the comments if that's true. Please, do it, I need the algorithm boost. Now, there were other small things done to promote the film. There was an ad in the Wall Street Journal advertising David 8, an android played by Michael Fassbender. At WonderCon 2012, attendees at the film's panel were given Wayland Corporation business cards with the film's website and phone number. After calling the number, you would be sent a text that linked you to a video ad for David 8. David 8 also had a Twitter account. They really liked this character, apparently. There were also other short videos made to promote the film, each centering around different characters. The campaign continued after the film's theatrical release, with a website link present in the film's credits. What is 10-11-12? This site features a giant book with the words, "What is great in a man is that he is a bridge, not an end." A quote from Friedrich Nietzsche's book, "Thus spoke Zarathustra." The significance of this date was later revealed to be the release date of the film's Blu-ray. In the film WALL-E, the fictional company By and Large plays a prominent role as the company that manufactured WALL-E and plunged a space colony into a dystopian consumerist hellscape. To promote WALL-E, Pixar made an official website for the company, one that was filled with fake news articles, annual reports, ads, and even real shopping links where you could buy By and Large merch. At the time, it was actually the world's most extensive viral marketing website, and I mean, yeah, look at this. All these links were filled with plenty of Easter eggs and even humorous background lore for the movie. Like this copyright disclaimer, which alludes to very monopolistic practices, stating they don't share customer information to third parties, cause there aren't any. Or the fact that By and Large literally purchased the weather. Like they own the Earth's atmosphere somehow. And customers can pay a fee to have the weather in their area personalized via a satellite. I'm sure that won't have any adverse effects on the planet whatsoever. While not as ambitious as the WALL-E website, Pixar attempted another bit of fake official marketing for an in-universe property, this one being the Lotso Hugging Bear. These commercials were designed to look like they were straight from the 1980s. They go so far as to have a distorted voiceover, along with authentic video flickering at the bottom, and video static that isn't too overt. Analog horror creators, please take note. Pixar also made a separate Japanese commercial, which is notable for having this honestly kind of creepy cut in the middle of the video. And for this shot of the different toys bowing down to Lotso, which subtly alludes to the type of role his character plays in the actual movie. Despite its popularity, early marketing for Mission Impossible was notoriously marred with controversy, and this was especially true for Mission Impossible 3. There's the usual given controversy over Tom Cruise being a Scientologist, which affected the series since day one. This time around, Tom Cruise was threatening to not promote the film unless Viacom canceled all rebroadcasts of the South Park episode Trapped in the Closet, an episode where Tom Cruise is the main butt of the joke. This is probably the most well-known controversy involving Mission Impossible 3, which completely obscured their actual marketing fail. The plan was simple. Paramount was going to rig over 4,000 LA Times vending boxes with digital audio players. Upon opening the box, the Mission Impossible theme would start playing. Unfortunately, they did not do a good job of securing or hiding these audio players. Sometimes they would come loose and fall on top of the stack of newspapers, and of course, people mistook them for bombs. Obviously, bomb reports have to be taken seriously, so this simple stunt had real-world consequences. An entire hospital had to be evacuated when one of these players was found in the area. Several vending boxes were even detonated by bomb squads. Despite public fear and outcry, as well as subsequent lawsuits, the marketing team doubled down and left the audio players there until 2 days after the film's opening. Sector 7 was an ARG made to promote the upcoming Transformers film in 2007. This ARG presented itself as being part of our world, with Sector 7 being a real government organization with the purpose of covering up the existence of Transformers. They did this by creating toys and cartoons with the hope that if the public ever saw these alien robots, they'd think it was part of some marketing scheme. This new Michael Bay film was also part of this scheme. The ARG began with the Transformers teaser trailer where Bumblebee is discovered on Mars by NASA. Over on the website, players could find even more evidence by entering codes found across different trailers and social media accounts. These unlocked things like leaked emails, audio files, and video footage. Among the videos were one of Starscream from 1982, the event that started their media cover-up. One had a Bumblebee on CCTV footage, another one depicted Transformers bugs apparently, and finally, one showed scientist Rebecca Howard chasing after Starscream. The video concludes with him recharging and flying into space, which lines up with the film's post-credit scene. The ARG was also revived for the second film. With Sector 7 now disbanded, 2 websites take it upon themselves to leak all their cover-ups, and they get their information from none other than Rebecca Howard. There was a lot of supplemental footage made for this ARG, and a good portion of it is unfortunately lost. Not every video and audio file was archived, and with all the sites now shut down, they are effectively lost media. If anyone was around for this ARG and has some of that stuff saved, consider uploading it to YouTube. While I was editing this video, I learned that Transformers actually had another ARG campaign unrelated to this one. It was called Transformers Are Dangerous, and it was made by, you guessed it, 42 Entertainment. The campaign was made to promote Age of Extinction and revolves around an in-universe political movement to get rid of the Transformers following the destruction they caused in the third movie. It's really nothing special. Players of this game would just sign up on the official website and start getting videos and posters about the cause. The only one I can find is this news broadcast being interrupted by Optimus Prime. As far as I know, there was nothing players had to physically do, which is kind of odd for a 42 Entertainment campaign. meninblacksuitsarereal.com was a website made in 2012 to promote the film Men in Black 3. The site was a blog run by a 14-year-old kid with the screen name BugEyes126, and it follows his investigation into said Men in Black and the aliens they're potentially hiding. He would promote this blog by writing articles about his alien investigation for the actual Huffington Post website, some of which are still up right now. There was also a Facebook page where players of this pseudo-ARG could discuss the various pieces of evidence he found and even help him in the investigation. The storyline of this game would be updated regularly over on YouTube, where he actually appeared on camera going to various locations players suggested and finding alien artifacts. The story ended with Bug Eyes finally solving the mystery of the Men in Black, at which point the character Agent K visits his house and recruits him into the organization. It's a neat story, although nowhere near as ambitious as other ARGs in this video, and thus never really gained too much traction. Still, this little interactive game would be referenced in the actual film, as he appears in the background for a few seconds. A truly great moment for all 12 Bug Eye fans out there. Project Ape was a geocache event made to promote the new Planet of the Apes film. No, not that one. The other one. For those who don't know, geocaching is essentially a community-driven scavenger hunt. Items are hidden in an area, you're given the general location and a hint for where it might be, and then you go find said treasure. Despite being used to promote the film, it actually had very little to do with it. There was no overarching story or lore to discover, the locations had no significant meaning to the film, it was just a little fun event. There were a total of 14 caches hidden around the world, from the US to Japan to Australia and Brazil. Players who took the challenge would find movie props, promotional items, merchandise, and one player in New York even found tickets to the New York City premiere of the film. With geocaching, you're not actually supposed to take the container, you just take the items you want and swap them with items of your own. Obviously, these containers are susceptible to being stolen by random people unaware of the game, or by being swept away by natural causes. After 20 years, there are still 2 active locations intact, one in Brazil and the other in Washington. In 2011, the Washington container went missing, meaning the site had to be archived and was no longer officially in use, aside from being able to pay tribute. However, 6 years later, a group of 10 geocachers took it upon themselves to search the surrounding forest in hopes of finding the original container. And they actually did, putting the Washington area back in use. The film may have been forgotten by most, but a small dedicated group of fans still seem to love the marketing 20 years later. Released in 2014, Ex Machina is a sci-fi film about a programmer who is invited by his CEO to administer the Turing test to an intelligent humanoid robot. The two then form a seemingly close romantic relationship. The film was screened at the South by Southwest Festival before it had a theatrical release. Tinder users at the festival would come across a profile for a person named Ava, the humanoid robot in the film played by Alicia Vikander. The profile used real images of the actress, but the account was run by an AI, who, ironically, asked her matches questions like, "Have you ever been in love?" and "What makes you human?" a parallel to the themes of the film. Ava would then conclude conversations by sending a link to the film's Instagram page. This was a pretty unique stunt for its time, but nowadays, marketing on Tinder is more common than you might think. Recently, Marvel set up a Tinder profile for the series She-Hulk. It's a lot more clear now that these are ads, but sometimes a poor soul really thinks they found true love.
I'd say another week or so passed and I finally got a match.
Please don't be a bot.
A very attractive girl with a simple profile.
Oh no.
So I sent a simple hello message.
Oh.
I checked the message, and it wrote, "Hey,
Oh.
make sure to check out my new movie coming out this weekend." I got baited. The profile was just the main actress's ad account. I have yet to get a single like. I still don't even know if you need the subscription.
To promote the upcoming Watchmen film, Paramount created a website for the in-universe newspaper, The New Frontiersman. Here, fans could find fake news reports and government documents, as well as magazine covers and ads featuring some of the characters. There's also a connected YouTube channel that has 4 videos, all of which are news broadcasts from the 70s and 80s. Each segment offers kind of a range of different public perceptions of the Watchmen and the kind of society the world lives in because of them. What's great about this YouTube channel is that all the extra material they made is properly archived here. The same can't be said for other studios. But that's where my praise ends. You see, unlike other studios that just redirect their link to the studio's website after the ad campaign ends, Watchmen just forgot about it. So now the link that is still posted on their official YouTube channel was bought by a website that hosts Japanese adult videos. This is not a joke. This is a warning. Do not click that link. Okay, so this has nothing to do with film ARG or even kind of viral marketing, but I just have to talk about the phenomenon that is Cannes Film Festival publicity stunts. First thing you gotta know is that Cannes is probably the most prestigious and honestly the most pretentious film festival there is. It takes place in the wealthiest parts of France, attended exclusively by film industry professionals, and films routinely get either booed or get a standing ovation for over 10 minutes. It's serious business over there, which makes the choice to market there very bizarre. At first, I only knew about the B-movie stunt, where Jerry Seinfeld flies over Cannes spectators in a bee suit. They were so proud of this stunt that they even put it in the DVD extras. But this would not be the only time DreamWorks pulled a stunt like this at Cannes. Jack Black had to do a similar publicity stunt for Kung Fu Panda, and it's so painfully awkward to watch him do his thing with a very apathetic crowd. There was also Over the Hedge, who brought a vulture to a screening of the film. Now, I haven't watched the film in a long time, but I don't remember there being a vulture. I feel like it would have been easier to bring like a turtle or something. There was also the Emoji Movie stunt where this guy parasails into the festival. Why is the Emoji Movie advertising at the festival? I don't think their target demographic overlaps with Cannes audiences, but what do I know? There's also Borat appearing at the festival in a mankini. This is also where that one image of him comes from, by the way. But hey, at least he's wearing something, unlike the cycling nudist promoting the film The Misfortunates. A lot of weird stuff going on at Cannes for some reason. Inside is a 2011 film made in collaboration with Intel and Toshiba, and marketed as the first interactive social horror film experience. The film would involve a character named Christina, who wakes up in a mysterious room with a laptop. In order to get herself out, she, posts different clues she finds in the room to various social media platforms, and has random people online figure out where she is. Yeah, I didn't say the film was good. Essentially, audiences were able to participate in real time with the film's story as they saw the different clues she posted to places like Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. The clues themselves were uploaded as short videos. Players were also encouraged to post comments frequently for the chance to see their name appear in the final film. After figuring out all the clues, Christina's location was found and the film concluded, promising to release later that year. After a delay, the film was finally posted to YouTube and was a massive disappointment. For one, the movie was just bad. But two, apparently the film was just all the same videos people watched to play the game, except it had comments sprinkled in. Yeah, this type of interactive movie never really caught on. Zelcher, I don't think this counts as viral marketing. Well, it did go viral, and I want to talk about it. And also, it's my Iceberg, so here we are. When the movie Gotti released in 2018, it was not received well by critics. It actually managed to get the rare 0% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. However, it did have a positive audience score for a short time. So, the Gotti Twitter account decided to double down on this and post the now infamous video saying, "Audiences love Gotti," and calling out film critics for being trolls with keyboards. A painfully ironic statement when you look at their other tweets, all of which have quotes from critics praising the film. What happened to critics being trolls with keyboards, Mr. John Gotti? Obviously, the studio was clowned on for doing this, and the film was quickly forgotten about. But why am I talking about it now? Well, it's because advertising a low critic score is starting to become a new method of marketing. Looking at you, Jason Blum. Nowadays, everyone is the John Gotti Twitter account, calling the opinions of critics stupid unless they agree with me, of course. We used to beat people up for doing this, but I guess once studios started paying off TikTok film critics, we all kind of stopped caring. I think we all collectively need to stop giving a crap about Rotten Tomatoes. Million Dollar Mystery is the name of a 1987 comedy film where audience members had the chance of winning $1 million. Using clues from the film, audiences had to correctly guess where the $1 million were hidden. Producer Dino De Laurentiis came up with the idea of a sweepstakes-type film after seeing a long line of people who he thought were buying tickets for a movie, but instead were buying tickets for the lottery. Laurentiis got Glad Bags to sponsor the film. He chose this company in particular because it appealed to what he describes as the infrequent moviegoer demographic, the type of people who stay at home, don't watch a lot of movies, want to win $1 million, and use Glad Bags frequently. He was talking about women, you know, all the core qualities. He had high hopes for the film, but it ended up being a massive flop. With a budget of $10 million, it earned only $989,000. That's less than what they had to pay out to the winner, who ended up being a 14-year-old girl from California. I wonder how many Glad Bags she bought with that. A Cure for Wellness is a 2016 psychological thriller film that centers around a strange wellness center. To promote the film, the studio kind of engaged in a bit of misinformation. The marketing campaign began with a Super Bowl ad that was initially presented as a real drug commercial. It then got a bit more chaotic and ended with the film's title. So far, so good. However, 2 days before the film's release, various news websites popped up with inflammatory and factually incorrect headlines, quite a few of them centering around Trump. Digging into the articles, readers found a call to action by the website to raise objections on Twitter with the hashtag #ACureForWellness. I'm guessing they wanted the hashtag to trend or something. Almost none of these articles had anything to do with the film, by the way. I haven't seen the film, but I don't think Trump plays a big part in it. 20th Century Fox was literally trying to trick customers into promoting their film through fake outrage, and they were rightfully called out for it. The studio promised to make some internal changes to prevent this from happening again, but when asked about what exactly that would be, they remained silent. I Hate Sarah Marshall was a marketing campaign for the film Forgetting Sarah Marshall, a movie where the main character's girlfriend of 5 years, Sarah Marshall, abruptly breaks up with him. This campaign involved running billboards in 5 cities, with messages insulting the character using her full name. Like, "My mom always hated you, Sarah Marshall. You do look fat in those jeans, Sarah Marshall." And just bluntly saying, "You suck, Sarah Marshall." The billboards also had links to a blog run by the film's main character. Some people thought it was kinda funny, while others, specifically women named Sarah Marshall, did not find it funny. In fact, in a small act of protest against the billboards, the Sarah Marshalls of the world put up their own signs saying, "You suck, Judd Apatow." And you know what? I support the women on this one. The man has produced like 3 good movies in a sea of mid. A Belfast Story is a 2013 Irish crime film that follows a detective who investigates the murders of former paramilitaries in a post-Troubles Belfast. The Troubles, also referred to as the Northern Ireland conflict, was a conflict between Ulster Loyalists and Irish Republicans over the status of Northern Ireland. The Loyalists wanted North Ireland to remain part of the United Kingdom, while the Irish wanted to leave. During the conflict, the IRA was well known for using bombs, which is the subject of this film's marketing campaign. To promote the film, the filmmaker, Nathan Todd, tried pulling off a publicity stunt where he sent what was described as a nail bomb kit to various film journalists. Specifically, this press kit consisted of a ski mask, some nails, and duct tape. Of course, you're not going to be able to make a bomb with this stuff, but the idea is clearly there. Naturally, a lot of people were upset. Chris Hewitt, a news editor for the movie magazine Empire, had some harsh words for the stunt. Todd did attempt to defend himself, stating, "The media packs were not meant to offend or upset anyone, but to demonstrate the difficult challenges facing the people and the politicians today. Although the film is fictional, it deals with the very topical problem of former adversaries seeking to build a new society and the difficult choices that have to be made." The film itself was met with negative reviews upon release and quickly faded into obscurity. I Love You, Beth Cooper is a 2009 rom-com about a valedictorian who confesses his love to his crush during his graduation speech. Naturally, 20th Century Fox wanted to promote the film by pulling off the same thing, but in real life. So the studio got in contact with the valedictorian of the Los Angeles Unified School District and paid her $1,800 to confess her feelings to her crush and promote the movie. And yeah, it's just as cringe as you might think.
Finally, I was recently watching the trailers for the upcoming movie I Love You, Beth Cooper, about a valedictorian who confesses his love for the most popular girl in school during his graduation speech. It inspired me to make a little confession of my own. Given that it's the last day of high school and not knowing what can happen, I cannot let this opportunity just pass by. So here it goes. I love you, Jake Miner!
Much like the film itself, this marketing stunt was a complete flop. After a month of it being up, the video barely got past 2,000 views. And after a decade, it finally reached 35,000 views before it was privatized and buried forever. So here's a marketing campaign I wasn't going to include, cause I wasn't even sure it actually happened, if it weren't for the efforts of YouTuber Bundy Burundi. More on that in a bit. To promote the film Office Space, the marketing team decided to rent out space on top of a building in Times Square. Using plexiglass, they made a small cubicle where a guy, referred to as Office Guy in news articles, would essentially live for 2 weeks. Beneath him was a billboard saying work sucks, and a phone number for people to call in and talk about how much their job sucks. All of this was also streamed online. Despite its cult classic status now, the film was actually a box office bomb and fell into relative obscurity until Comedy Central rebroadcast the film 2 years later, bringing it to a wider audience. Still, its initial poor performance meant the studio never really bothered to preserve this marketing stunt, and any footage of it became lost to time. For over 20 years, the only evidence this stunt actually happened came from articles from that time. That is, until Bundy Burundi, otherwise known as Sean Neidhart, took it upon himself to uncover anything about the stunt. He not only found photographic evidence of this stunt, but he also uncovered and documented the story behind it and what exactly happened in those live streams, which unfortunately recordings of are still lost. I've been recommending a lot of videos during this Iceberg, but seriously, you need to watch this video. I can't in good conscience summarize all the stuff he found. This really is a type of research and media preservation I love to see on YouTube. So we finally reached the last entry on this iceberg, and what better way to end it than what may very well be the first viral marketing stunt. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is a 1920 German silent film, and one of the most famous examples of German expressionist cinema. The story revolves around the strange murders that occur after a hypnotist arrives at a town fair, showing off a somnambulist as part of his show. Within the film, there's a particularly important and mysterious phrase, that being, "You must become Caligari." This phrase would also be used in the film's marketing. Before any information on the film was released to the public, the studio set up posters and news ads with just this one phrase. Having no context for what this might mean, it became kind of a mystery for people, and hopefully generated some intrigue for what this phrase could mean. They would then get their answers once they started seeing proper posters for an upcoming film titled The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Considering this all happened over a century ago, it's unknown if the marketing campaign was successful. And hell, it's even unknown if the film itself did well at all, as there are many conflicting accounts over whether audiences and critics liked the film on release. However, its legacy and importance now is undeniable. The film laid the groundwork for the future of horror films, and apparently, it also laid the groundwork for unique and intriguing marketing campaigns. And that concludes the film marketing iceberg. Making this video was kind of torturous considering I got sick like 3 separate times while making this, but I did also have a lot of fun, especially with the research. I came across a lot of great videos while looking into some of these topics, some of which are criminally underviewed. Seriously, the Office Space video is so good, and it only has 15k views. I really like watching a video where someone is so genuinely passionate about a topic, especially something as niche as this one, so if you have the time, please consider watching them. I'll have them linked down below. Also, with a topic like this, I am bound to miss a few cool ad campaigns, either for it being too obscure or just simply not well documented. So if you guys have a favorite I didn't mention here, comment it down below, and if there's enough, I might make a follow-up someday. With all that said, shout out to the patrons as per usual. If you're one of my subscribers who only watches for the icebergs, I'll see you next year. I only make these like once in a blue moon. But if you're a true Zelcher fan and a true Jennifer fan, I will see you in the next video.